All right. Well, first of all, welcome to the first Evergreen informational update and support Q&A meeting. This meeting will be held every other week at 8 a.m. on Tuesdays now. So that is different, but happy to see you all here this Tuesday morning. The agenda for this meeting will be similar to the previous recurring meeting series. It will be informational in that I'll give some general updates at the beginning of the meetings, and then we'll certainly have plenty of time for me to jump over and answer questions from the Q&A. So just like your previous meeting series, please feel free to locate that Q&A icon on your Zoom window and start typing in your questions now. That way I'll have some questions over there queued up so that I can start answering those in just a couple of minutes. But I do want to start with a few general updates for this morning. So we did have a production deploy on Friday, the 14th, this past Friday. There were several items that deployed, but some of them were cosmetic in nature or necessary for internal purposes. So I'm not going to go through the full list with you, but I do want to highlight some of the important ones that were on your radar and that you'd be interested in hearing about. So we did deploy a fix for the comprehensive assessment, which was related to the community case manager role. I guess there was an inability to save some of the sections within the comprehensive assessment. You were getting an error message of some error has occurred. That should now be resolved, and you should be able to, as a community case manager, populate and save the comprehensive assessment without any trouble. Also, for the community case manager role, there was some issue with opening person history records. So when you were under the person record and you run their history icon, you could see the items in the list page, but if you tried to open the record, I guess it was not populating with the history details. That is now resolved. There was an issue with the all completed reportable events report not loading the data into the preview. That has also now been resolved. So those that have access to the all completed reportable events report, that should be running without trouble this morning. Well, as of yesterday, I guess. And under queries for our public guardianship representatives, the open guardianship query was not properly filtering to their location and their results for their location. That has also been resolved. And then again, there was some internal items and medium lower priority items. There were also some other items that were tested that failed retest and did not deploy. Those will be tried to fix again and retested again. One of those that's going to be extremely important for this group is the active equals yes, the PCPs and the active equals yes. We had hoped that that would deploy on this past Friday. That did not deploy yet, but we are hopeful that we do know what the problem is now, and that can be resolved and deployed out on the 28th. So that will be retested in this current round of retesting, and fingers crossed that will all go well and we'll be able to resolve that on June 28th for you. There are also several other items that are in retest right now. One that had also been attempted in this last round but failed, and we're hopeful can be resolved in this upcoming retest period, is related to the location addresses not populating, the MIMS location address updates not populating in Evergreen. We did attempt to fix that. It failed retest, so we're attempting to fix that again. Similarly, something that had failed retest and is being retested again, was fixed again and being retested again, was for our APS users. One of their queries is not showing the transfer requests. So that is also being retested again. Some other items that have been being worked and are finally in retest this week are, there's an issue with public guardianship representatives not being able to see all of their clients. That is in retest as of today. So hopefully that will retest just fine. Any of the items that are in retest as of today are hopeful if they pass retesting and they pass the deploy that they will be live in the system on the 28th. So again, we can't make any promises for that because again, items do fail retest. There could be an issue with the deploy where they don't go into the deploy, but any of these items that I'm sharing right now are hopeful to be deployed on the 28th. There's also an issue that's being retested for a community case manager role, not being able to add goals under the My Goals section of a migrated PCP, and you're getting an error message of some error has occurred. That is in retesting right now. Also for the community case manager role, apparently when trying to complete the IST form, you're not being able to select staff members or contacts from the list. I think similar to that reportable event issue that we had previously. So that fix is being retested right now. Also, in the person-centered plan, the person-centered thinking tools, not all of those are available for access from within the PCP. That's being resolved right now and retested right now. If you've tried to use the submit feedback feature under the help section in Evergreen, that was also throwing an error. For some error has occurred, and we are hopeful that that will pass retesting. So those are the items of particular interest for this group, plus some other cosmetic and internal type things that wouldn't make any sense to you. So I won't share those, but those are the important and urgent items that are being retested right now. And again, hopeful that those will all pass and be able to be deployed on the 28th. So we're going to keep your fingers crossed for that. So those were, I know, quick general updates, but oh, I guess I'll also say two other things. One, we do plan to send out a weekly communication this week. It will likely go a little bit later in the week because of tomorrow being closed for State of Maine holiday. I'll hope to get that out on Friday of this week, if not Friday, early next week. And then the other item that I did want to remind everybody about, I had hoped that I would get it added to the alert tile, the orange tile on your dashboard in Evergreen, but I didn't get that in there yet. But I did want to remind everybody that the new question and issue submission form, the ticket tracking form, did deploy last week. So that is available to you, and you can submit any questions or issues that you're experiencing through that form under the appropriate category that will route to the correct ODES team here, and we will respond to that as quickly as possible. And I do see some questions are queuing up here in the Q&A. And just as a reminder, this is now a combined meeting. So this meeting is for all Evergreen end users. So anybody that wants to participate can join, and I will answer questions from all user types. So it's not just limited to provider users anymore. I will answer questions from community case managers, care coordinators, internal staff, whoever's on the call and has a question. I'll do my best to answer those live for you. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over there to the Q&A. So the first question is about safety device plan approvals, and it indicates that they appear to be pretty sparse with only an approval date identified in Evergreen. Is this all we should expect going forward, or will there be an actual document outlining what devices are approved? Yeah, so the safety device form in Evergreen is a packet. It's considered a packet. So it allows you to enter that date and then attach documents. So you will need to attach the safety device request form. And I can't remember what the names of all of the documentation are, but you have to attach the populated safety device approval request form. And then once your device has been approved, then you'll be able to add the safety device and its details to the person's record under the health information icon under safety devices. But you do need to fill out that packet, which seems very sparse because it just has the date, but you have to attach the document in there and get approval of that first. The next question is regarding prior authorizations. How can we get help obtaining them? We are going on 3 months of providing services to our current caseload without updated authorizations as the PCP annuals come due since the switch to Evergreen. We currently only able to bill for 5% of our caseloads. We have also done meet and greets for new staff and have entire caseloads of clients waiting for services to start. So this could be this, I'm not exactly sure why you're not seeing your prior authorization. So hopefully you know that you need to pull your the PA utilization report under the reports icon in Evergreen in order to get all of your prior authorizations. But some of those may not be there because they're still in the backlog of prior authorizations that are getting reviewed, although I think the team has been keeping up with those pretty well, especially the ones that are PAs that are, due to expire and need to be reestablished with prior authorizations for the annual planning year. Some of those may be related to PCPs that are still not set to complete and the prior authorizations have not been generated. And that could be because the PCP can't be set to complete because of one of the outstanding issues, like around the active equals yes thing or the guardianship signature issue, although there was a workaround for that. So definitely check in with your community case manager to make sure that the plans are set to complete. We've established workarounds even for those ones that they can't set to complete, where our resource coordination team can review those and manually create prior authorizations if that's necessary, if the current plan is due to expire and the PAs are due to expire. So you should be getting those PAs, you should be seeing those PAs. So I'm not entirely sure exactly what the situation is there for you, Alina, but you can also feel free to submit question through the ticketing system regarding specific person records, prior authorizations that you're expecting to see and you're not seeing. We can certainly look into that further for you. Yeah, so guardianship signature pages, yeah, we are still working on that one as well, Heidi. That one may go live on the 28th as well. But there is the workaround for guardianship signatures. So if it's a private guardianship signature, we've published the documentation. It's up in the help center. I sent it out with the last communication as well, I believe, or the one before that. I can't quite remember, but it is out in the Evergreen Help Center that tells you how to work around that guardianship signature issue until we're able to resolve that.
Leslie, just in addition, if it doesn't resolve with the workaround, send in a ticket. It'll make its way to us. We will. Yes. We've not failed once at getting that to go. So
yeah. So
send on a.
Thank you, Nancy. Yeah. So if the workaround is not working for you, please do reach out to us. We will support you and help you all with that. How do you close a reportable event that was opened in error? Yes, you can submit, Shirley, you can submit through the ticketing system under the reportable event category, a request for that reportable event that was opened in error to be closed by our team. We're happy to do that for you. You'll need to provide the person ID and the reportable event form ID and a description in the body of the email that it was opened in error and you need it closed, and we'll go ahead and get that taken care of for you. We will be providing, right now you can do that through the ticketing system, but we will be providing a form for modifications to those and deletions to those, but we're just in the final stages of revising that official form. So for right now, just submitting the details through the ticketing system will work just fine. Do we need to check off change in waiver services on annual renewable plans to activate the new auths instead of the old rollover process? No, Karen. So if you're doing an annual plan, All you need to do is revise your PCP, the active PCP, and choose the type of annual. And that will appropriately, that type of a plan, that PCP type annual will appropriately generate the prior authorizations once you've completed the plan. If it's in the middle of a plan year and you need to make a change to a waiver service or services, then you would want to revise your active plan as a type of change, and you would want to select that change in waiver service option as your change reason. This will require you to fill out the change in waiver services section of the PCP to describe what waiver service changes are occurring. Either you're adding a waiver service, you're removing a waiver service, you're changing the units on an existing waiver service. You need to describe that in the change in waiver services section if it's in the middle of a plan year and you're doing a change type with change in waiver services. Then your resource coordinator is going to modify the existing PA. The plan won't auto-generate them, but your resource coordinator will make the appropriate PA adjustments for you based on your description in that section of the plan. The next question is, when will the PCP signature issue be fixed? On some PCPs, when we add the signature, it doesn't trigger the completion requirements. Therefore, we cannot finish the plan even though it's done. I assume, Megan, that this is related to a public guardianship signature issue, because I believe we resolved all the other signature issues. So if that's the case, then definitely try to follow the instructions in that informational sheet that are in the Evergreen Help Center. If you're still struggling, please reach out through the ticketing system and ask your question about the person-centered plan, and we'll be sure to help you figure out what's going on there.
Leslie, just if it is a CM signature issued, then they should go through the ticket system as well.
Okay.
Because I
Yeah.
do think there might still be an issue with the migrated ones.
Okay. Thank you, Nancy.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah. So if you are having any PCP signature issues that are not resolved by following the guardianship workaround instructions, please submit that through the ticketing system, and we'll take a look into that for you. The next question is, what should we do if you can't click on anything in the case manager attestation page? I'm unable to click yes or no.
This might take you a little off guard, Leslie. I
Yeah.
have it on our list for later.
Okay.
Uday and I are aware of a situation that I have been meaning to check in with you about and just haven't had a chance to. So
Okay.
it shouldn't be a ton, but there are a handful of those that are stuck not being able to check yes. And I'll talk to you about the reason why later.
Okay.
So we can get back around to them on this.
Okay, we'll take that away, Michaela, and come back to you with some more information on that one. I'm just jotting it down in my notes really quick so we don't lose track of it. Safety device request forms will not pull PCPs if there is PCP active equal no. DS crisis team will not accept a safety device request form without the pull from the PCP active equals yes. PCP active equal no. We tested a workaround. We waited until the PCP effective date 6/18 to set the PCP into complete, and it worked successfully. That is correct in that the safety device request packet is going to require you to attach a PCP. And in order to attach a PCP, it does have to be in the active equals yes status. So if you're in a situation where none of your PCPs are in active equals yes, you will need to get a PCP into active equals yes. So we've also published some information on how what the scenarios are where you might have active equals no and how to remedy that. Hopefully that would resolve your problem so that you can be able to submit your safety device request form. But if not, then you certainly can, send a message through the ticketing system as well regarding your safety device packet request that you're struggling with. I'll also take a note about this to follow up with our crisis team on some limitations that we have with the PCPs, and maybe we can come up with a workaround for those of you that truly are unable to get a PCP into active equals yes and need to submit a safety device. So I've jotted that down, Melinda, and excuse me, we'll try to come up with a workaround for those of you that truly cannot get your PCP into active equals yes.
Can I just also add to that real quick? Anybody who has sent in a ticket as of the new ticketing system, as you know, you don't need to repeat that ticket. I have a list of them of active equals yes plan issues that I'm going to be discussing later today, and we'll be addressing. I know Melinda was one that I had asked to wait until Friday for see if there was a fix for Monday. So she is on the list.
Okay.
If she has not submitted a ticket, then she should, because she'll be added to the list. But anybody who has submitted a ticket so far, don't send another one, because you are on my list.
Thanks, Nancy. For behavior management plans, will service providers have access to enter this information, or will it always be the case manager? No, at some point, provider users will be able to fill out the behavior management plans. Unfortunately, that's been turned off from your role temporarily while we work to resolve the attachments issues. We had some issues with the attachment functionality not properly not being properly configured for the different roles. The vendor has implemented a fix in our testing environment for those attachments, but that is a large effort to retest all of that, because there's almost 70 roles, or I think we have 70 roles now, and dozens of different forms and attachment categories. So we are retesting that. It's just proving to take a bit of time. And each time we have a deploy, we need to retest the tickets for the deploy. So we have to kind of keep shifting gears. We're testing attachments, then we're testing deploy tickets, then we're testing attachments. So it's taking a little bit longer to get through the attachments testing, but we are working on that just as quickly as we can, and hopeful that we'll be able to turn the attachments functionality back on for all of our users in the coming weeks. And then once we're able to do that, then we'll be able to turn back on those forms like behavior management plan for the provider users. So apologies that has taken some time, but we are working on that still. Yes, Angela, it's an informational, I can actually try to share my screen here. Give me just a second. It's an informational guide that is in the help center on how to the different legitimate scenarios for PCPs that are all in the active equals no status. So we do have some help guides there. Let me just get in here and show you that.
It speaks to the reasons why a plan might say active equals no, and some of them are legitimate reasons that's an active plan that is active equals no.
Yeah, there are several scenarios where that would be legitimate, and it talks you through that, and then it kind of tells you, like, in this scenario, here's how you would get a plan to become active equals yes, like setting your in progress one to complete, or that kind of thing.
Or if there are no plans with a effective date in the list, no plans with an effective date that encompasses today's date, there's a resolve for that, but it's to recreate the annual plan by using the plus new form.
Yeah. So it's this one here, Angela, instructions, person-centered plan, person has no active plans. It will give a different set of instructions for each scenario with some screenshots. I think there are 3 different scenarios outlined in here. Sure. Yep, 3. So that's available right in there. You can view it right in your browser like I just did, or you can download it and it's a PDF. And then as I was indicating before, this is this third one down here, this workaround person-centered plan guardian signature requirements. This is the one that people will want to use to if they're getting if they have a signature issue. So this will give you the instructions on how to go about making sure that you can get your signature, your plan set to complete if you're getting a signature error related to guardianship signatures. And there's some other items in here too. For those of you that haven't been to the help center, there's some great stuff in here. There's the reportable event fillable form, paper form. There's the service implementation plan fillable form. There's also our how to revise a service implementation plan for providers to be able to edit. And then we have our fillable reportable event provider follow-up form. And we have some quick tips here on service implementation plans. And some quick tips on, well, here's another PCP plan signature section, instruction, prior authorizations, quick tips, teaches you how to use the PA utilization report, person-centered plan, Evergreen quick tips, and then your like technical guides. And then there's some stuff in here for the release to people. But there's lots of good information in the help center. Anytime we create a new like instructional guide or something like that, we are populating it in here. So always check there first. Bring you guys back over here. All right. Next question is, case manager completed PCP and asked me to put SIP in, but when I went into Evergreen, I was not able to find the consumer's information. So if you're a new provider for this person, you've never provided services for this person, or you weren't actively providing services for this person, then you will not be able to get to the person's record to populate the service implementation plan on their PCP. You will need to ask your case manager to provide you a copy of the PCP. They should be able to create a PDF version of that using the print icon and send that to you. And then they should also send you the paper version of the service implementation plan that they can download from within the SIP itself. And you'll need to populate that on paper the first time. If you were previously providing services to the person, and this is an annual plan, and they've asked you to fill out the SIP for the annual plan, and you're not being able to see the person's record, please submit a ticket through the ticket system, because probably your assignment was inactivated and needs to be reactivated to that person record. That should not occur, but I did hear a report or two of the system unassigning an active provider when the new annual plan was created. That shouldn't happen, but it was happening. So if that's your circumstance, please submit a ticket. If your circumstance is that you're a new provider, please reach out to your community case manager and ask for the paper copy of the fillable SIP. Will community case managers eventually be able to see their entire caseloads on the dashboard, or will it always be an abbreviated list? It's always going to show like the top 5 are in the window, but you should have the ability to scroll and see your whole caseload there. So if you're not seeing all of your actively assigned person records, please submit a ticket through the ticketing system with your username, the username that you log in with, and the names of the people, and if you know the person IDs of the people that you are actively assigned to, but that are not showing up in your caseload. And even if you can give us a screenshot of your caseload tile and what you're seeing there, that'd be helpful. Is there a report that shows reportable events in the different stages? Example, it would show if it was completed and if there's been a follow-up completed. Yes, there is a report called the All Completed Reportable Events Report. I do not recall offhand what user roles have access to that report. I know there are several internal roles that have access to it, and I do believe that the reportable event provider role also has access to that report. And it does have a filter that allows you to select if you want to see the ones that are completed, if you want to see the ones that are in progress, if you want to see the ones that have been acknowledged, that kind of information. I don't know that it shares the follow-up details on it just yet. We have worked on a separate report for the follow-up details, but that one I do not believe is available to external users yet. It was created for our internal staff. So I certainly can take that as a follow-up item to see if that report is something that can also be opened up for external roles. Has the rights and modifications issue been resolved? Some plans are not completed due to this issue, which makes the plan not active. Interesting, Heidi. So I did not believe that there was a rights and modifications issue anymore. During training, we trained out that the rights, HCBS rights modification addendums should still be filled out on paper. So you should not be able to indicate within your PCP that you're modifying a right. You should not be able to invite a provider to fill out the addendum because we don't want the plan to create those forms in the system.
There might be some confusion, Leslie, where she feels like a plan that's not active is not active because there's that red circle. After you complete a plan, that red circle will return because we have it shut off.
Thank you, Nancy. So Heidi, if you're indicating once you've set a plan to complete, and it's, active equals yes, or historic, active equals no, but historic. If you open that plan, your completion requirements look like they're not complete because it's looking like it's asking for an additional signature for rights modifications. You can ignore that. If that's what you're reporting, you can ignore that red exclamation or that orange exclamation mark on your completion requirements. That is an artifact of when we built the PCP, we anticipated that we would be filling out HCBS rights modification addendums in the system, which ultimately we will in the future. But that's going to take some time to get that resolved. So right now we're still using the paper forms and you're getting your signatures on the paper forms. So you don't need to capture that signature on the actual PCP itself. But in the future, once we do start using the addendum forms, you will need to capture that signature on the plan itself. But you don't need to worry about that completion requirement looking like it's unmet. Your plan is completed if it's set to the completed status and it is an active yes, and you do have your appropriate signatures on it. You just don't have that extra HCBS rights modification signature and you don't need that.
And if the plan is active equals no, it's not because of that.
Right, correct. It's something else.
Right.
So if there's still some question about a plan that's inactive equals no, I would definitely submit that question through the ticketing system and we'll try to look into that for you. Is there a workaround for plans that are complete and active but are asking for the HCBS rights modification signature, even though there's no right. Yeah, so Vincent, that was the response that I just provided to Heidi. No need to worry about that signature. It's optional and not necessary, because if the person has HCBS rights that are being modified, you are filling out the paper form and getting the signatures on the paper forms and attaching those completed HCBS rights mod paper forms to the PCP. So there's no need to worry about that signature. You can just ignore that for now. Futuristically, it will be used once we get to using the HCBS rights modification addendums in the system. But for
And,
right now,
and again, that's not related to prior authorizations.
correct. Yeah. This will not hold up prior authorizations in any way. When your plan is set to the status of completed, it auto generates the PAs, and the PAs will be reviewed and authorized accordingly. So no need to worry about that. So Karen's saying she sees 20 clients in her dashboard and has to use queries to see the ones not listed. Interesting. If you could definitely submit a ticket through the system, Karen, regarding that query for us, you know, your dashboard, and give us like the list of people that are showing up on your query, but not on your dashboard, that would be super helpful. It might be the query that you're using as well. So the clients that should show up in your dashboard, if you're a community case manager, the dashboard should only be showing those clients that you're actively assigned to. As a community case manager, you may have multiple queries that you can run. You may have your My Caseload, which should match your dashboard tile. Or you may have caseload at my location or caseload at my organization, and that would show more persons. But I don't think you do as a case manager. I don't think you have those. So if you're a case manager, you should be seeing the same clients in your dashboard as your query, case manager or care coordinator. If you're a provider user, I don't believe you should be seeing any people in your dashboard tile. You shouldn't have a caseload because you're not actively assigned, and your query should show all of the persons assigned at your location. So definitely like to receive those examples so we can look into that a little bit further. Yeah, Troy's saying the same thing. The first 20 filtered by name, A through C. Interesting. I don't believe there's an active ticket in the tracker related to this. So yeah, definitely Troy and Karen, send us those details through the ticketing system, and we'll look into that further. Yeah, Karen's saying she goes to the S's. Interesting. I don't see any additional questions in the Q&A. Nancy, I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted to share this morning.
I don't have anything else at this point. I mean, I need to address some things with you and then we'll move forward, but.
Sounds good, thank you. I did see there's one more question here from Vincent. Is there a way to identify myself as a note writer when under another person's profile? I had to write a note for another case manager, and the only way to access the member was through my supervisor's profile. I'm not able to access another case manager's caseload unless it's through my supervisor's profile, but it assigns her name instead of mine. Yeah, it should not be assigning her name when you do the note. There might be an open ticket related to that, Vincent. I'll have to
There
go
is.
with that. Thank you, Nancy.
There
Yeah.
is something on that. We already have looked into that
Okay.
briefly. I'm not sure if the ticket is open, but I know this is something that's been addressed, so we could check to make sure the ticket is there.
Yeah, I'll look into that ticket. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to, when you use the change context feature and you log in on the behalf of someone, it's supposed to document any changes that you make as you. So I do believe there's an open ticket around that. I'll look into that further. But that is the only way that you can work on behalf of somebody else. And you can go through either their profile. So if it's another case manager, they can delegate to you so that you can log in under them, or you can log in under your supervisor. But either way, I think right now it's probably going to populate with their name when you do that. So my only recommendation for that right now, until we get that issue fixed, is just in the note, in the context, in the description of the note, you can indicate that the note was created by yourself until we're able to get that resolved. Wendy's asking how far out PAs are being done. My client cannot get rides from Penquist due to his effective PCP date of June 4th, but I've been told the waiver service is working on May PCPs. I don't want to speak to that. I don't know if anybody from Emily's team is on here. I know in the past she has been sharing that they are working the PAs in priority order. I did believe that they were keeping up with that. I don't see.
I think from that date that I just heard, Leslie, I'm sure that's one that if we've not done it, we will very soon. But again, folks can use Evergreen Ticket, particularly if they have urgent support needs. So feel free to reach out directly.
Thank you. Yeah, Wendy, if you need to, please feel free to submit a ticket through the ticketing system under prior authorizations, and we'll get to that for you.
We've also, I just wanted to add to that we've also asked case managers in some of these situations where they're saying they need stuff for transportation to send them what they have. Even though it hasn't been authorized, the services, there's a plan that speaks to the service, and it's just there's a delay in our system. And it has worked for some case managers.
Thank you. That's good extra information. So this next question is related to ICFs having difficulty submitting death and mortality report because they don't have access. Yeah, I think I believe that you probably, I don't know in EIS if you submitted death and mortality reports yourself through the system or not. And I'm not sure whether we've given access to that. You should have a reportable event provider role, Allison, and I don't know if we've given access to that reportable event provider role for the death and mortality form. So I took that one and I'll follow up on that one to see if it's a permission issue or what might be going on there. So Phil is asking about RC email for communications. I think we want everything going through the ticketing system now. Is that true, Emily, or?
Yep, if it's an Evergreen related issue, that helps us best. It's I think it's part of our auto reply now, which I know is sometimes hard to to read through, but that link is in the auto reply, Phil. I think it's in my email signature now too, and that really helps us prioritize and keep up with to reply to email. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So definitely use the ticketing system, and Emily's team will get to those a little bit more expeditiously. And again, I think that's all the questions that we have for this morning. I've jotted down a few things that I need to follow up on. We are testing through, and our next deploy will be on the 28th. So our next meeting will be on the 2nd. So I will look forward to talking to you all on July 2nd. Please keep your eye out for the weekly communication as well, hopefully on Friday or Monday of next week. If not, it looks like Wendy has shared some information as well for us in the chat, Emily. I grabbed that information, Wendy. But please feel free to submit through the ticketing system as well. And everybody have a fantastic rest of the day and week, and look forward to talking to you in a couple weeks.